fuel pump assembly out of the Z, and pretty much similar to the Q50, Q60. It's just got a different height. But we're going to be adding our Burger secondary fuel pump kit to this. And on this particular car, we're doing that just to get rid of the fuel starvation that we see once we start running low fuel levels in the tank. So it's basically going to sit like this once it's inside the tank, and we're going to go ahead and demonstrate the install. So this assembly already has an upgraded fuel pump. You know, it's got a Walbro 450 in there from the AMS kit, and we're going to add a 525 Hellcat Walbro in there. So we'll begin our modification. First thing we're going to do is get rid of the factory line that comes off the assembly. We're just going to use a razor blade to get this bad boy off of there. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to run a hose from the outlet of the pump, of the primary pump, into the side of the union that's on top of the 525 pump. So we have the hose that we're going to do that with, and again, we're going to have to get creative once we put it inside because there's not a lot of room. So we're going to kind of do this as a two-step process install on here. We're going to loosen up this fitting, this bracket, so we get a little bit more room on the outlet of the pump. And we're going to go ahead and heat up one end of this hose, get our oidiker clamp, and then we'll get it right over there just like that. We'll get that bracket out of the way some more, and then we'll crimp down on our clamp. And then basically the way it'll work is we'll do the same thing on this fitting. This fitting will go here into the outlet that goes to the top hat. Get this thing all the way on there, just like that. Our clamp is around our hose, and then we'll do the same on this side. We'll get our bracket out of the way. We'll remove the entire thing. Easier. There you have it. We can put our AMS bracket back on. We'll go ahead and attach this end of it. Just snaps into place like that, and then we'll get our other hose. This is where I have to figure out which hose we're going to go with, since this is the one they did not provide us with. I think this will work in. It's a little long, but snap it into place. This guy on there, that. And there you have it. So then all our hose routing is complete, and then the next thing we're going to do is modify top hat so we can get power and ground to our second pump. So keep in mind that the pump is only going to be activated with a hop switch, so it's only going to run under boost. We don't want the second pump to run unnecessarily under idle and light cruise situations, only when there's boost pressure. Okay, so we're going to wrap up the rest of the install. All we have to do now is get our power and ground routed. So in order to do that, we need to drill the top here. You can see where we've marked our locations, just being sure that there's nothing there. Thankfully on this top hat, you'll see there really isn't a whole lot going on over here. So pretty wide open area to go ahead and do that. I'm gonna punch the top hat. We'll go ahead and drill. All right, so we've gone ahead and marked our holes. We need to finish up the install, right? So we got to do the power and the ground. So we're going to drill the top hat. So I've marked them. We've got them punched already, and we'll go ahead and we'll drill it. You want to make sure you don't get any of the plastic shavings anywhere. We've tapped our outlet. All right, we may need to go up in size. We'll test fit this. So the bolts are going to go underneath. We'll start with a smaller size. We don't want to go too big, otherwise we're going to have issues with fuel getting through there. So we'll go up with our next drill bit size. And so these are basically going to be our leads. So we'll mark these to make sure so you don't install everything. Whoa, which side's power and ground, so we can get our polarity correct. We'll make sure we determine that. We get our last washer on there. And this is what's going to keep this all from moving around, is using this nut here, just like that. And then on this side, our power and ground will come here, and then we'll use this nylon nut on there. We'll go ahead and tighten that up. We'll get this routed as such, and then we'll mark on the outside where our positive and negative is. So we're clear on that. You don't want to have a brain fart after you get everything in, and you go which one's positive, which one's our ground. So we'll go ahead and mark that. We'll tighten those up, and then we're ready to install it. All right, and there we have it. Our assembly is ready to go. And we'll go ahead and install it. Hey guys, we've got our prototype fuel filter kit on, the brand new Z. We're using an Aeromotive 10 micron microglass filter, so it's compatible with all fuels. And we've got a really cool aluminum bracket that we're using to hold it. And the beautiful thing is you can get these filters just about anywhere, and the element is replaceable, really easy to get. So what we're trying to do is not bolt the filter to any part of the chassis to reduce any chance of NVH, which is again noise, vibration, harshness. Some guys with their Qs have noticed when like the fuel filter or even the flex fuel sensor is bolted to the chassis, you get some of that vibration. So by doing this, mounting it on the engine, you're not going to get any of that. So that's the beautiful thing about it. And with our kit, we are looking to keep the factory fuel damper. So if you look over here, this guy, we want to keep him in place. So this car already has our flex fuel kit and you can't even tell it's there. So that's the beautiful thing. So a lot of this is kind of more on the down low. You won't really see a whole lot. Obviously you're going to see the filter, but it's really OE style. Yeah, so what we've done, again, if you look at this engine bay, it looks pretty stock. Obviously you'll see that fuel filter, but this car has a flex fuel kit. You really don't even see it. So we're trying to keep everything as factory as possible. Dampers in place, make sure that the fuel system is going to work as best as it can without getting crazy and changing a bunch of whole lines. So keeping a lot of that and minimizing the amount of AN lines that we're using. So we've only got one, again, prototype, but on the outlet side, going to the high pressure pump from AMS, we've got a simple rubber line that is biofuel ethanol compatible. And so yeah, we're using one line. It's a rubber line, biofuel compatible, ethanol compatible fuel hose, and integrated with the factory style line as well, retaining that damper. So this is going to minimize any of the pulsations, and again, any of the NVH, noise, vibration, harshness that is going to go and possibly get transferred to the chassis. That is not going to happen at all with this kit. So really nice, clean design, easy to get to the filter if you need to service it, and ensure that your injectors stay clean, especially if you've got upgraded injectors or even stock. So keep any of that debris from getting in there, which will be really, really, really helpful.
They already know it's not too many about the click.